Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Habitual Overcomers Podcast, Episode 3. Today's topic, great one, the obesity epidemic in America. And I am your host, Toots McAbernathy. And with me, as always, my co-host and very dear, close, and personal friend, Keith Creator.
So
Ayo.
is it me, or does Toots sound like he is in a tunnel?
I'm in a tunnel again, huh? Well,
That happens, dude.
that
He
happens
goes in
for
that
some reason.
tunnel. He's on a train, and it just goes to the 7 different countries, and that's how he just lives. He just has Starlink just glued to the top of the train.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
I burrow, I tunnel, I live underground now. So,
What are you burning? He said that to me earlier.
Nice.
Killed me.
It sounds
Oh
like he's in
God.
an empty room, which he might
Anyways, you'll
be.
figure that out.
yeah, I'm the only soul in here. It's very empty. So, I guess I'll need to get some like sound padding or something to go around it for you guys to get the non-tunnely
I
sound
might have one of those around
He
here,
likes empty
actually.
rooms.
out of it. But so, getting right into it though, we'll get the topic started. Sorry about the tunnel vision and the tunnel sounding, but we're just gonna fight through it. We're gonna plow through. Um, And so, just to get things started, like, look at what's going on in our grocery stores. Okay, when you walk into a grocery store, you don't see even natural food up front. The first thing, what really the only thing that should be in there is obviously natural foods. But as soon as you walk into these places, there's candies and sodas and snacks and
Don't
all of
forget to
this
like and subscribe,
processed garbage
especially if you want to join in on the comments.
right up front in the aisles when you walk in. They're already pandering to your, that chemical in your brain that says you need these things because we're all
Oh
addicted
boy,
to
sugar is
carbs.
so bad for us.
We're all addicted to sugar. Sugar is chemically in your brain the exact same as
I heard it's just as
certain
bad as
drugs.
cocaine.
So it does the same thing to the endorphins and the dopamines in your brain, and you get those same feelings. And that's why, even though you don't have physical effects from it so much, but when you have that strong urge to want it constantly. So
Yeah, it's kind of like the vending machine theory, where it's like, it's like, man, it's the middle of the night. I work third shift, so it's like the middle of the night, and I want a candy bar. But it's like, if I fight it, eventually that'll pass. And then not only did I save money, but also it's like I saved myself from having a candy bar that I don't need or want, when I could just, take breakfast meats, which I normally do, and Flawbar will vouch, but, I take breakfast meat, and then I wait till I get hungry enough to want it whenever I don't want it, if that makes sense. If I don't want to eat it, then I'll just wait till I get hungry enough to want it. And I will. And then I'll eat it, and then I'll be good to go. And that way, I know what I'm doing with my body, because before it was like I was intaking so much sugar, eating candy bars, drinking soda, and it was so bad. And then my body started aching, my joints started aching, because my son has cerebral palsy. I pick him up every day, so I had to change my diet. And like now, none of that happens, and I have no problem. And it's because I had to change my diet. And Toot showed me the way of that with carnivore keto, just by eating meats and cheeses and dairy, and just really getting away from bread, just no more bread. And Steph started making bread from scratch, and that's really a difference maker as well. I mean, just making things at home, but that's the more
Always
expensive
like and
route at the
subscribe
grocery
to the
store.
homie Toots. He
You can
plays
spend less
mad
money
games. Both Toots
and
and
eat
Keith
way
are
less
doing a
healthy.
awesome podcast.
And but once you cut out like processed foods, then you start to see things and
Did
taste
you
things
guys hear
different,
about how scientists
and you'll
were
know
being
who
bribed in the
like
1960s to
makes their
blame
meat differently.
fats,
They
like
ship
butter, for the
different
leading
meat
cause of
to
heart
different
disease?
grocery stores, and it's processed different,
mm-hmm.
and it's a big factor. And you got to know what you're eating and what you're feeding your kids. Like, where you buy your meat matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And great point, Barbie. Great point. That I believe is basically how the food pyramid and the FDA kind
Yes,
of
I did hear
got
that,
started.
Barbie.
Was with that.
So while people were throwing out and blaming and avoiding things like butter, they were
Yeah.
downing sugar like crazy.
Yeah, and anything processed. We see, especially like for breakfast cereals. I mean, look at what they've done with breakfast. They have you thinking that you need
Breakfast cereals are
breakfast.
horrible, the
Yeah,
worst.
they have you thinking that you need it, that you
But
must
sugar
eat
turns
breakfast,
to
right?
fat in your
They're saying,
body.
oh,
It's
it's
wild.
the most,
They killed me growing up,
yeah,
They
man.
it's the
tell
They
us
most
got
butter
me.
is
important
bad for
They
thing,
us.
have
but
me.
it's not the most important thing. It's the least important thing, actually. Really, you should not have anything for breakfast. You should continue to fast during that morning period once you wake up. It's much healthier for you. It's much healthier for your brain, for your all around function. And then we wonder why kids in school can't concentrate. We jam them full of sugar cereals and then we send them to school. It's wild. And it's not just that, but thank goodness that we have somebody that's doing something about it.
Yay, the meat nowadays, you
Sorry about
gotta
that.
watch out for anything that looks bad.
But we have
Absolutely.
somebody in over the food
What was
in
that
our
doctor law
government that's
name again you
changing some of the
told me
rules and
about?
regulations, which is one of them is these food dyes, and this all the cereals had those dyes in them. Poison, petroleum based food dyes, straight poison. They made this
Nobody
in
in the world eats like we do,
The
dude,
sugar
at the United
contributes to
States.
their
Nobody in the world
ADHD
eats the trash that
diagnosis,
we
along with the
consume
red 40s.
at this point.
the red 40s exactly. Sugar and the red
And it's
40s
usually a
absolutely.
misdiagnosis.
It
Sugar is
100% is a
bad for
misdiagnosis.
unity.
I actually watched a great um, little clip, and I can't remember what they're called, but it's basically called like the Slap Doctor or something like that, and it's about like a Indian shaman style medicine man, and instead when these people are coming to him with their problems, like being overweight, and he says, do you eat too much? And the guy says yes. And instead of doing it, he just slaps him in the face and says, stop doing that. Right? It's a simple thing for doctors instead of saying, "Oh, well, here, take this pill. Here you go. You need a shot." Obesity it's not in your control. Doctors make you think that it's out of your control, that something else is going on in your body. Instead of simply saying, "Stop eating that crap." You've got to stop eating. And when we talk about processed foods, here's another good point. We're not talking about any type of meat product for the most time. Most people think, oh, well, you got hamburgers processed and bacon is processed. These are not processed in that same fashion. Processing from there is just taking meat and mixing it with spices, and then it's still just meat with spices in it. They're not changing it. Not like when they take a grain and they're processing it into a cereal or things like that. So there is a difference there. So when we talk about processed foods, we're not talking about any meats at all, even bologna. Okay, and you
You go
guys could
online and
eat
yes,
only bologna and hot dogs, and it's still a health food, and it would be healthier than anything else you could be
Meats don't
eating
usually
process
contain
see,
wise
sugars
at the
and
store.
and that
preservatives.
happened to me where once I swapped off of the processed meats, the lower grade that I didn't know, I was I was just, eating as cheap as possible, really,
Yeah,
for myself,
which is
and
still
then
better. Don't think that just because you have to eat the bottom tier of food, if that's all you can afford, that's still the bottom
it's
tier
just
of
how you
meats
consume it.
is still way better than breads or pastas or sugars or anything like that. Potatoes, even vegetables and fruits and vegetables, which we'll get into that. But I still implore people to eat naturally. I'm constantly saying, if you want garbage, okay, and I get it. A lot of people, they're going to have that stuff. Make it from scratch yourself with real food ingredients. Don't use processed seed oils. Your grandparents and great grandparents, they never once used a seed oil. Okay, they never used vegetable oil. They never used canola oil. These things weren't around back then. What did they use? Natural fat, natural butter.
Those
Butter's been
oils are
around.
super
Butter
bad for
and
us.
milk
But
have
the
been
fat
around
on
since the
meat breaks
beginning of
down
time.
as sugars.
They're the best
Canola
things
is
for
not
you.
good for you, not
Absolutely
Crisco.
not. Yeah, Crisco is good. Believe it or not, some people will be like, "Hey, that's what the doctors ingrained into people. Crisco is what's clogging your arteries and making everybody. Crisco is just
Use
pork fat.
unsalted butters and bacon fat, even olive
Crisco
So
is
oil.
actually just fine as long as you're getting only fat. Look at the ingredients, you guys. All you gotta do is look at the ingredients. Go straight to the ingredients and look at it. And if it says, pork fat, you're fine. If it just says fat of any kind,
Love
you're
these
fine.
podcasts. Crisco
so
is way
Steffi
healthier
knows
than
me pretty
corn
well. I
rolls.
was complaining about the Georgia prison system for a while. I don't live in Georgia, but I tell everybody I won't go to Georgia ever because you can get a speeding ticket and end up in 10 days in jail. And it's the worst prison system you've ever experienced in your life. And so they have to buy peanut butter from the commissary store in order to get protein because the jail refuses to give
Learning a
them
lot from
protein.
you guys.
And in all of their meats per day, they don't give them enough protein. So because they don't want them getting strong, they don't, they talk about it. They in the Georgia jails, they most of the time they don't even get to go outside, and they
Yeah.
aren't allowed to work out. They have to work out in like secret. And I saw this like 2 years ago. I saw this online and I was complaining about it because it was insane, and and like the videos were insane. But and then
Yeah, I
Tommy
had it
G, a big
happen. I was
YouTuber,
doing
like
15
this week
over
made
and
a
had
YouTube
10 days in
video of
jail.
him going to one and then
Macon,
staying overnight,
Georgia.
and it exactly was how it was, and it just represents how important protein is.
Yeah.
And if you're on the outside, that should be your number one thing. Just don't worry about anything. Just get fat and protein, natural fats and natural proteins, and be done.
Yeah. Now,
And eat when you're hungry.
when it comes, I mean, that's a great incentive to stay out of jail. And not that I condone, feeding people garbage, obviously, but when it comes to like jail and prison,
Yeah, I didn't even know that, Ken. That's insane, dude. That's the most crazy jail, dude. I don't know what experience you had, but I need to know. See, I didn't even know that, but I was aware of it like 3 years ago. I was like, I'm never going to Georgia ever again. I went to an Atlanta race. I'll never go again.
oh wow, Ken experienced
Sorry.
that, huh? That's wild.
That's insane. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You see how wild that is? And
Yeah, their job
like,
is
don't
not
even
to
get me
keep you
talking about it.
healthy
Bro,
in
it was
jails and
terrible,
prisons,
Keith.
though. Their job is to keep you alive, and that's it. Just barely enough to keep you alive. So, you know, I I kind of
Yeah.
stay out of that area. Like, yeah, it sucks for them, but you know what? Stay out of jail and prison, you guys. It's not rocket science, okay? You
But it's
don't
not.
have to go and do things. Now, if it's like what they're saying and you're doing 15 miles an hour over the speed limit or whatever and you go to jail, I
The
can't help that.
nastiest filthy
You
jail
have to
I have ever
change
seen.
the people who are in charge of that, whether it be legislation, your Congress, your whatever. You need to change that in that state if that's the case. Because here,
Yeah.
I think I was 101 and a 65, and the trooper just wrote me a ticket and said, "We'll see you later, son." So that certainly isn't everywhere. I learned from it though because I ended up paying a lot of money to get out of trouble for that ticket, so I didn't have to go to jail to learn my lesson. I've never had another ticket since. I don't
Yeah.
speed anymore. I don't do stupid stuff anymore. I was younger, so that but you do have to learn lessons in life. I think that going to jail for a speeding ticket, I think is it steps over the line, and
Oh, big
so
time.
I wouldn't be voting
But
for those
that's
people
why I said I'll never
there.
go ever
Yeah.
to Georgia ever
Yeah.
again,
And
dude.
that
I'll
makes
just drive
sense. I
around,
wouldn't go
dude.
there either. That makes perfect sense. That's wild.
Nah. Yeah. And it's because their court system's so like backed up. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, they don't give them protein.
Yeah.
They specifically
No
don't.
protein.
Like, don't give them. Well, they give them enough, right? But not enough to work out or to gain any muscle from
And protein and
any
fat
activities,
is
right?
basically all you need. You just need
Yeah.
protein, fat, and the
Because
rest
the
you can.
fat from meat breaks down into sugars into what you need. And if you eat when you're hungry, even though you don't want to eat that, if you just wait, you'll get hungry enough to be like, you know what, I'll eat it. And then
Yeah, well, technically it doesn't break
maybe.
down into sugar. What happens is your body starts burning fuel in a different way. And this is ketosis, you guys, for anybody who's curious. So when you ingest meat, it does the same thing that carbs do in the
They
way of
feed you low
carbs turn
carbs
to
and noodles
sugar
and bread, no
in
real
your
protein.
bloodstream, which is what gives you fuel. But in this instance, once you go into ketosis and you don't have sugar, then your body
Noodles for
says, "Oh
every meal.
no, what do I do now?" And it starts converting fat into a fuel to burn, into ketones in your blood, which is very sugar-like, but they're not. But it's not sugar. And then it starts burning those ketones out of your blood instead. And that's how you get into
I
ketosis,
have
and
a
that's
friend
how
who's
you
diabetic,
lose
so he
weight
does keto.
through keto. That's exactly right. And keto is great. Keto is, I would say, it's the next best thing to carnivore. If you can't quite get into carnivore, just go keto. Just lower everything down. Keep your carb limit under a certain number, whatever is comfortable for you. Some people it might be 60 grams of carbs a day. Some people it might be 30. Some people it might be 10. Whatever you need to that your body functions right, and you'll figure it out because some people can just handle more carbs than others. I do best with zero carbs, honestly. The best shape that I was ever in my life is when I had zero carbs, only meat, um, just proteins and fat, and I was eating just like as much steak as I could, but a lot of hamburger. Steak's expensive, and it's only gotten more expensive. So, if you can't eat steak, I totally get it. It's out of
I
some
didn't
people's
realize you were
capabilities.
such a well-versed dietitian, Toots.
Oh, thank you, Tycoon. And so, carnivore is by far the best weight loss diet. Every doctor on the planet should be saying to every person overweight, here's how you fix it. And here's the great side effects of all of this. When you do that, even keto, but definitely carnivore, you'll start healing things in your body that you didn't know was capable of healing from eating foods. You thought that all these things that were wrong with you is something wrong with your body.
And
It
if you
is.
don't take their
It's the
word, you
garbage
have to
that you're
listen to
sticking in
this
it.
doctor.
And your body
I
can't
forget his
break
name, but
down
Toots will tell ya.
most of the
Steak
foods
is
that you eat
definitely a top
process
10
wise.
meal for
They
me.
don't even break it down all the way. This comes in with fruits and vegetables too, by the way. A lot of people will say, oh, well, Toots, you gotta have your fruits and vegetables, man. Doctors say, wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And here, let me tell you why. Fruits and vegetables have something in it that blocks your body from getting. Now, I don't know the exact what's in it, and you, once again, the doctor that he's talking about, the doctor that and he's basically makes YouTube videos, but his name's Dr. Ken Berry, and I suggest everybody check him out. Check if you're interested at all in understanding carnivore keto. He's got every video in the world you can imagine. He breaks it all down. He explains it from a doctor's point of view, and he was a doctor that pushed the Americanized diet. So he's not someone that just is a wild, crazy. He was on the same thing that all doctors are on. Eat this Americanized diet. Eat these salads and this, and no fat. They want you to eat no fat, and they want you to eat all this low calorie food. But he realized that what they're doing is actually lowering the people's nutrition levels because with fruits and vegetables, although they do contain a lot of nutrients, your body can't absorb those nutrients. Your body isn't made to absorb nutrients from fruits and vegetables.
They
There's a
push orbit
chemical
for
in it
money.
that basically stops your body from absorbing the nutrition out of those things. No doctors ever told me that before. I had never heard that before. And then once I started hearing them say that, did a little research on my own, it's absolutely true. There is a chemical in vegetables. Vegetables
Certain
are,
fats are
it's their
good, as
defense
long as they're
mechanism.
not overly
They don't
processed.
have like a defense mechanism on the exterior of fruits and vegetables to stop animals from eating them. So the way they do it is they have this little poison inside of these vegetables that makes it to where, and this is why vegetables don't have seed, and then we'll tell you the separation of fruit and vegetable. But the vegetables don't have any defense mechanism, so their defense mechanism is that chemical inside of them to make animals not want it, basically. But we've overcome that in our diet. We were never intended to eat vegetables, by the way. Maybe for a supplement for a little bit out of the year to get by if you needed it, right? But that would be it. If there was no meat available and you were dying, then you could use that to get by. Fruits, on the other hand, they're made the opposite. They are made to spread because they have seed. They want the seed to spread. That's why they're full of sugar. They taste good. They taste good to animals. So I would say if you were going to eat something, in my opinion, other than the
For a
sugar
certain
being in
time
it,
in the year only.
fruits would be more beneficial than
Well, the
vegetables,
wild
in
thing
my
is a
opinion.
lot of the overly processed,
And
really fatty,
and they're
sugary,
made
bad for you
to
foods are the
for you
cheaper
to want
options too,
they're
which
made for
also
you to want
count.
the fruits. Yeah. they're made for you to want the fruits. That's why it seeds like that, and so that way you eat it, you spread the seed, and it regrows, and it's part of the reproduction of life through plants, in that aspect. But both of them are bad. Fruits have sugar, vegetables
Our
have
natural
poison in
diet
them.
is
Neither
different
one of
from
them are
what
good
we
for you, no
eat in
matter what any doctor
civilization.
says. They're all wrong.
Feeding
You
a
can call me
large
crazy.
population
It's
via
fine.
agriculture is a
I
complete
do like to
transformation
keep
from
just the slightest bit of vegetable in my carnivore diet. Let's say, so if I'm going to eat a steak, I'll have like 2 or 3 pieces of broccoli with it. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. And that's only simply for me is because of my digestion. Because when I'm a full on carnivore, I don't go to the bathroom enough that it's comfortable for me. And everybody has to find that spot. Some people it's just fine. But for me, I found that I need a little bit of something in there to help it get out. And when I do that, that's when I'm at my peak performance for me. And it's only one time a day, which by the way, I'll eat once a day. I've only eaten once a day for years and years and years. I don't eat multiple times a day.
You're literally Dennis from Always Sunny.
Am I?
Yeah.
Come on, you guys, get your shit together. So,
Uh,
and that includes, and that gets back to the point of not having breakfast. There's no need for breakfast. In fact, I suggest to everybody, close your window of intaking and ingesting food. We got to get out of the mindset of we need food. We need all, like, oh, I got to have
just
this
look
again.
at Mexico, dude. That's
It's,
all you have to do. Look at Mexico. Mexico doesn't allow that stuff.
yeah.
And
Europe has
it's
banned a lot of those chemicals too. I mean, even their
that's
sodas
why
use
Coke
natural
from Mexico
sugar,
are way
not
way better.
high fructose corn syrup. Why are we subsidizing high fructose corn syrup to for the corn industry? And because it's cheaper and sweeter, so we're going to kill the consumers that use it. It doesn't make sense. We've
Yeah.
developed, that's the kind of, I don't like
If
talking
they
bad.
really gave a shit, everybody would have diesel vehicles.
I don't like talking
That
bad
was
about
super
capitalism
simple.
because I think capitalism is what makes every
Yeah,
country grow, right? So I
it
love capitalism.
is.
But what
And
comes
you
with
need it
capitalism
because
is
everybody
an
loves something different.
intense greed, right? It's inherent because of the evil that's in people, but it's an intense greed inside of people. And then it overcomes their mind because you got to
We
think
love
when they
capital.
started these things, when they
I
started the
agree
food stuff,
with the diesels.
they were they had the best intention, right? They didn't start out thinking, oh, we're going to make so much money. For instance, like how we were talking about cars. Henry Ford didn't start out building cars because he wanted to become a billionaire. He started out making cars because he wanted an affordable transportation for people to get back and forth to work in to better the country. Right? And that's how all of these things kind of start, but they turn into this
Hopefully,
horrible, horrible cycle of greed where it's all about money now. And so they've pushed these manufacturers to push this agenda of the food pyramid, what the FDA deems is good or not good. And you got to remember, scientists and doctors are always changing what is truth. All right. So we have the truth, and then we have
hmm
what they
it's usually
say.
what they don't want you to do,
Yeah.
you know. And
What
that's
is in
why they
theory
make it
is their
so
truth.
expensive to eat healthy and natural and make recipes from scratch. And they make it that it's a lot more work.
Well,
You
and it
gotta
doesn't line their pockets. If you were healthy, okay. If
no,
you if
it
you
doesn't
all
line their
ate if we
pockets.
all ate
No,
carnivore, doctors would almost be out of business. You wouldn't be going to the doctor. You wouldn't have
yeah.
to. Your body would be thriving. You would be.
All
It,
my body issues stopped when I figured out my diet like that. When
not
I
to
figured out my
mention,
diet, I was like, oh my God.
you start growing muscle naturally just by changing
Yeah.
to carnivore. You don't have to work out. You don't have to change.
And fruit tastes like a candy if you
And
really
fruit
go
is
hard.
just like candy. Oh, it's so sweet. It's almost unbearable sweet
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. It starts tasting like a candy. Like like crave an apple sometimes, and just crave different fruits like that, especially oranges and just grapefruit. Grapefruit tastes completely different, So
Yeah,
and it's
once you don't have sugar in
like
your diet for 30 days.
if you
And I just
stop
recommend
eating
everybody
processed foods,
just just try it for 30 days. What do you have to lose? Anybody
yeah.
who wants to try out there, okay? And this is what I've told everybody that's done it. All my friends that I've told that have done it, they all agree. Try it for 30 days.
hmm
If you're not satisfied with the results, go back to eating all your
Did you
shit that you
improve your
want.
microphone
Don't lie to
cheeks? It
yourself
seems the
though
sound
and
quality
pretend
has
like you're
improved.
doing it and
I'm
then not
slowly
really do it. Like,
changing my
don't
diet
lie to
since
yourself
the
and
other day
sneak
we had
snacks.
this
You're only hurting yourself.
conversation.
If you're going to do it, really do it.
You
You go
have to
for
do
it.
it.
Do it for 30 days,
Even I
nothing
think
but
two
meat for
weeks is
30 days.
enough.
2 weeks
I
will
think two
get you,
weeks of
2 weeks
no
you'll
processed
understand.
foods.
But after a month, you'll see changes that you never thought were possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you
and
start
that's what
tasting
keeps you
food
going.
different.
That's what kept me going. I mean, I went from, in 3 months of carnivore, with no change in my exercise, only changing from, and I was healthy before. I'm not saying I didn't go from eating fat. I was on a more standard Americanized diet, low calorie, just trying to be modest. It wasn't always effective, but I was eating carbs, right? So when I changed that in 3 months, I went from right around 190 pounds. I've got it all listed somewhere. I'll have to get it back out. But I went from somewhere to around
Yes, he did
190 to
typhoon.
155 pounds in 3 months. 90 days of carnivore. That was it. No change in any other way. And I'm not saying starving yourself. I'm saying I eat until I'm satiated. I eat until I am just like, okay, I can't eat anymore. And I'm losing weight. Never did I go hungry. Now, I'm not saying I didn't have a craving or two. Obviously, from the years and years of eating all this garbage, you're going to have cravings. You have to overcome that. It's not easy in the way of mind control, but understand that what's going on in your head doesn't have to control you, and then you can
Yeah,
overcome that stuff easy. So,
and
after
that's
2 weeks,
where
though, like what Keith was saying, after 2 weeks, you're over the hump. You'll see after 2 weeks, you're going to be like, no, this is amazing. I'm just going to keep going. And then 1 month
yeah,
for me, 1 month turned into 2 months, 2 months turned into 3 months, 3 months turned into 4 months. The next thing you know, it's a lifestyle.
I watched Toots go through many trials, like put himself through stuff, and just that's what's so good about him. That's what's so good about his YouTube is that when he does something, he commits 100% to it. And so I would like, hey man, while you're doing this fasting thing, I watched this podcast with Scott Blumenquist, and he's a race car driver, but his dad was a pilot, and he would fly at nights, and outrace the DEA and shit. So he was a real cool guy, but he believed in aliens a lot. And he said that he would just eat beef and water and he could see people's auras. And so I started messing with Toots and saying, how far do you have to go? So he just started, kept pushing himself, kept pushing himself. He never came, but we tried.
Yeah,
And that's the good thing about Toots, and we learned a lot.
I never quite saw the Vision Quest, but I did do nothing but beef, salt, and water for 30 days.
It was a really interesting time. It was awesome.
And I will say, you don't even understand how addicted you are to food, you guys. You just don't, you can't comprehend it until you don't have it for long periods of time. But if you think you want like a candy bar, I was craving pork. I was craving chicken. I couldn't believe it. My body was saying, you're not having these types of meats inside of you right now. Like, you're freaking out. My body was absolutely losing its mind on meat. I didn't think I was addicted to meats like that. But it is true. Everything that we consume and ingest, because we're a flavor based society, that's the human mind is on flavors. And so that's what we base it off of. Instead of just basing it off of dietary need, which would be like you eat a piece of meat, if it, you don't need to make it taste good. Don't put a tons of seasoning and stuff on it, and simplify that, and you'll start getting that addiction out of your mind. And eating the same thing over and over again, thinking that you need all this variety. It's like we're really in our heads when it comes to food, and it's all a mind trick. None of it is real. None of it has to do with nutrition in your body. It's all in your head. I gotta do something with this cat here that's screaming. Though I'll be right back. Go ahead, Keith.
I mean, he's right. It's all in your head. Because once I started doing just the little bit that I seen him do, just a little bit that he was doing, I started doing. And then I started tasting like hot dogs different, because we did a
Dear
lot of
kitty
grocery
kitty.
shopping. We got 3 kids. So, and it was more expensive getting all of the ingredients and all the stuff to make the ingredients. But once I have everything, then it gets to be like, oh, Steph can just make bread really easy 3 times out of the week. And then you have fresh bread, you know, and get you can get stuff from the like honey from the store that is just fresh. And just stuff like that is just perfect with like breakfast meats because that's usually normally all I eat is because that's the best form for me to take to work to you know do whatever. Like eggs are a big deal, and chicken not so much because chicken is usually not
I
enough for
believe
me.
fresh bread is
It's like
better
there's
than the
just the
bleached
fat. I
white
can tell the
bread they
fat's not
sell.
there, and I usually had to figure out something to give myself energy, and then but if I eat chicken, then I usually eat something else with it, and
Chicken is very lean.
so
If you're gonna do carnivore and you like chicken, I suggest as much
yeah,
dark meat as
I
possible.
prefer,
The fattier cut, the better.
just yeah, like just even buying steaks, and I get it, but if you go like Sunday morning early and you get like where you go to your favorite grocery store and just see if they got anything on sale, and then just pile up one week and just cook one a day. I know it's a little expensive, but it just feed yourself. Just feed yourself, and that's it. You know, but that's what they don't want you to do because they made that more expensive. You know, and if you do that, then you'll be in the best shape of your life. It's no question.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
no question.
I agree. And then also too, like I said, closing your window for eating was a big deal for me. And I've been basically intermittent fasting since right around 2013ish. Um, and
Yeah.
all it is closing that window of when I eat. So I only eat between the hours of, let's say
Yeah.
noon and 6 p.m. When you close that window to eat, that gives your body the chance to actually do the proper digestion
That's a good
that it's
point too.
supposed to do. When you're constantly
Close off
eating,
mental
you're eating
windows.
all day, you're eating all day, you're snacking all day, your body never goes into the proper mode it needs to for breaking down those things that you're eating. So instead, you're always storing fat. You're always storing fat. Even if it's not a lot, you could just eat a couple of crackers a day at a time or whatever, right? Let's say you just, oh, it's like I'm hungry. So, or I eat a handful of peanuts. But that when you're eating, you're engaging those enzymes in your stomach to go to work again to break down food instead of it doing the burning the fat out of your body and the things it needs to do internally. Now it's working on breaking down that food again. Then you eat a little bit more. Now it's working down and breaking down. You see, so there is a scientific reasoning behind fasting, and it's all within your body. But most of the time, like I said, most doctors won't tell you this stuff. They don't want you to overcome these things. They don't want you to overcome obesity. Their bottom dollar, and I don't think it's necessarily intentional with like all doctors. I think you'll see some doctors are starting to come around because they actually care, but a lot of doctors just don't care. And it's all about that bottom dollar, and it's all about making money. And not to mention the pharmaceutical companies are the ones you need to be worried about. Doctors, yeah, be wary of doctors. Get second opinions. Watch your doctor. Make sure you trust him. Pharmaceutical companies, never trust. Whatever the doctor tells you to take, you better check into it. Look it up. Do your research. Find out if this is what you really want to do. A doctor's suggestion, he's just like you and me, you guys. He's not someone you should be putting on a pedestal like, oh, this person knows 100%. I'm just going to take this because this man told me.
Yeah.
You guys, be careful, okay? Doctors, they're just you and me, guys. There's no difference. They work off of the same thing. They can be wrong, okay? So,
Don't outsource your critical thinking.
exactly. Do not outsource your critical thinking. That is so brilliant because you're the only one protecting yourself. Nobody out there is looking out for you, especially in this day and age. A lot of times back in the day, we cared about our neighbor a little. Don't expect that from anybody. Do not expect that somebody else is going to have your best interest because
But
I would
do it
say
when you want
they
or when you
won't.
feel or but you don't expect anything and you'll
Yeah,
always be
if you trust your doctor and you feel
content.
that he's got your best interest, each person has to make that decision for themselves. I can tell you this: I don't go to the doctor. I don't
Yeah.
have a doctor. I don't know a doctor. I don't know. There could be a million things wrong with me, but I
All
don't
doctors are
know.
one.
I don't go. Instead, what I do is I take that money that I would be paying for health insurance to go to a doctor, and I put that back into my body. I have a home gym. I eat very healthy and clean. I try and eat only homemade stuff. We don't buy garbage at the store and then come home and eat it. When I'm eating an oatmeal cream pie, my wife has made that oatmeal cream pie from scratch with very limited ingredients. You know what I'm saying? We don't go and buy Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies and bring them home, because if you look at the list of ingredients, there's 15, 20 things in there that you don't need for
Listen,
making that.
no
Why?
little Debbie disrespect though. All right,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
spent my
yeah.
time with little Debbie
Yeah,
as
Little
much as
Debbie's
everybody,
awesome. I mean,
but
I've eaten Little Debbie
I
snacks my
haven't bought
whole
a little
life.
Debbie cookie in so long.
This is
That
why I
whole aisle just
mimic.
seems so
No,
foreign to
no.
me now.
Yeah, imitation is the highest form of flattery. I'm imitating Little Debbie's oatmeal cookies because they're amazing. But the point is that you can make them naturally. You can take something that you like and then go and figure out how to do it yourself. Do not just keep being a consumer of garbage. Start looking. Here, the number one thing you can do is read
Don't
ingredients.
you
That
feel
was the
bad about
number
Lil
one
Debbie?
change that I made in a grocery store, is once I discovered keto, because that's where I started, and I knew I had to
Those
start
my
looking at
favorite
ingredients.
fat
It blew
snacks.
my
Well,
mind how much garbage was in food. It started, and that's when
dude, that's
I
like
just kept going deeper and deeper into it because this food is so bad.
it was the hot dogs for me, and I started being like, man, I really can't eat like not a ballpark hot dog. Anything below a ballpark, I just won't eat it. It just is mush. It's not the same. I don't know what they're doing. And then at certain
He's a
grocery
Hebrew
stores,
national guy.
there's different, there's different levels, in processing foods and the way they do it and what they pack in it. And it matters, especially when you have kids, and it matters, in the way their brain develops, everything like that. All that stuff matters. So,
Way more
the
important for
way
kids. Do yourself what
the
you
way
want.
we
Parents with
yeah.
kids, you guys, come on, man. You guys are trying
And
to
it's like,
set your kids
yeah.
up for success. It starts with a diet. And it starts with a real healthy diet, not what the government has told you the diet should be. Stop paying attention to that.
Yes.
Start listening to some outside the box people. Okay. Another great one is Homestead How. I'm not sure if they're still doing it. I haven't watched them in a while, but they were really doing a lot with carnivore and showcasing it. And man, this guy, I think he was taking like 15 or 20 prescriptions, changed to carnivore for 30 days or 60 days, and next thing you know, he was able to get off all those prescriptions. Doesn't take them anymore. I don't think he takes any of them. Our friend Ralphie that games with us sometimes. I'm sure you guys have seen him on the channel here and there. But I got him doing carnivore. What happened is we got together. I had been doing carnivore for a few
That's an
months,
amazing story that
and
I tell
then
people.
and then we got together and we hung out one day, and he just kind of saw me and he saw how I was
Now,
thriving.
hold on one second. Ralphie and him have known each other since childhood.
Yeah, we've
So
been
this is
lifelong
that like
friends.
this is a monumental change,
Yeah, and
that that not even allowed Ralphie, but gave him more time with his family too. Definitely.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
anyways,
well,
continue.
especially in the long run, when you're talking about time with your family, you got to think about how many years you're going to live. It's not always about, oh yeah, you want your immediate time with your family, but think about, don't you want to be there? Like when your kids getting married, don't you want to be there? Like, when they have their kids and you become a great, you know what I'm saying? So you got to start thinking about those long run things. And I know that Ralphie was thinking about those things. And so basically, we got together. We went to the fair. He invited me to go to the state fair. I showed up to the state fair with him, and he just was like seeing. And then we went to eat together. He's like, "Well, you look amazing, right?" He's like, "You look like you're freaking thriving. So I'm interested to see how you're doing this." And when we took him in, I said, "One ribeye, sir. Nothing else. Just ribeye and salt. Just give me that." And when they brought it out, I mean, who doesn't love a ribeye? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's delicious. And he's looking at me and he's like, yeah, yes, I can do this. If this is what it is, if this is all it is, he said, I can do this. And I shit you not, he started doing it that day because we had already started. So he went ahead and he started that day. And this man, I can't remember, maybe it was 3 or 4 months of carnivore, he went from, I want to say, the lower three department. I think he was in the like three, maybe 320s, down to the 220s. It was amazing. Changed his life. He was pre-diabetic. His sugar levels, whatever that is in the blood, ACL or something like that, whatever it's called, were off the charts. The doctor told this man, he said, It will take you years to correct the damage you've done eating a standardized American diet, which is a low cal, all veggies, very low meat, low fat diet. He said it will take you years to do. When Ralphie went back to the doctor could not believe it. No pre diabetic, no crazy sugar levels in his thing. The only thing that he had was a higher cholesterol. But what does that mean? What does that even mean? Doctors say, oh, cholesterol, cholesterol. They don't even know. High cholesterol, if your body's healthy, doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. And it's only certain parts of the cholesterol anyway. They've just associated cholesterol as a bad thing. And it is. When you add sugar and carbs with cholesterol, yeah, that's artery clogging territory, right? But here's how it works fat doesn't make fat, you guys. That's not what puts people think, well, if I eat fat, I get fat. Wrong. Fat, that's not how it works. If you were to only eat fat and a little bit of protein, just enough to survive, you would lose weight, you guys, and you would become healthier. That is a common misconception that fat makes you fat. It's wrong. It's 100% wrong. It does not do that. In fact, I would say if you only ate that, it does the opposite of that. So, fat is not your enemy, you guys. It's not fat. And that's what the doctor was telling Ralphie. And then Ralphie came out of that and was thriving. Now, I think that what you'll find is a lot of people go back to a standardized American diet and then they battle with that because we're all addicted to that food. I'm even addicted to it. Here I am, my wife's, a baker and she bakes this stuff and I only want to eat meat, but here I am finding myself eating a piece of bread. Now, it's natural. Okay, so if you are going to do it, make it yourself, you guys. My wife, she makes her own sourdough starter from her own recipe with her own ingredients. Nothing outside what we want to put in our bodies. No chemicals, no added, no, what all this other stuff they put in. I mean, there's a giant list of stuff. So none of that stuff goes into it. It's a much simpler thing. Does it last as long? Yeah, it can't sit on the shelf for 4 months before you buy it, and then you buy it and it still sits on your shelf for another 2 months. That's what those chemicals are for. And let's get real specific. Mayonnaise. You guys, who doesn't love mayonnaise? Did you know that they put a chemical in
I
mayonnaise that
hate mayonnaise,
hides
dude.
the smell of rotten in mayonnaise? So when it starts to rot, okay, it would get a smell. This chemical that they put in, it hides that smell so you'll still eat it after it's already started rotting and breaking down. What? When I learned this, I immediately stopped eating mayonnaise. Okay, I don't touch store-bought mayonnaise at all anymore. If you're gonna eat mayonnaise, Primal Kitchen is probably the closest you can get to a natural, but it's like
That's so
five
disgusting.
ingredients. It's like it's and I don't
Oh,
know. My wife makes it, so I don't know exactly, but it's
Ken's eating the
nothing.
hell out of mayonnaise, dude.
Yeah, Ken, go look at the ingredients in mayonnaise and then Google the ingredients, and then when it tells you
Ken's
what's
like
in
eating a
there,
sandwich right now.
yeah, when it tells you what's in there, and it can keep mayonnaise from smelling rotten on the shelf for like
dang.
years, it said. It's insane what they do. It's not good. It's not healthy. And so smell wise, it's like, yeah, okay, it's still good, right? But chemical wise, it's rotten. So you're eating it. It's the same thing as eating rotten food, you guys. There's no difference. It's just there's a chemical in there keeping you from smelling it, but it's still got the same bacteria in it that break it down. You're still eating it. You might as well eat a rotten piece of food. It's crazy. But nobody knows that. And they don't tell you that. And the grocery store sure don't tell you that. But
But even smell wise, you can kind of tell there's so much junk in it though.
absolutely. And have you smelled fresh made mayonnaise? If you ever make mayonnaise yourself, I think it's like egg and sour cream.
Yay for sure, Barbie.
And so I don't know. It's real simple. It's real simple. Look up a recipe, you guys. Mayonnaise is super easy to make, and then that's your base for all your salad dressings. If you like salad dressings, you can easily once you get mayonnaise down, and all you need, you got to have like a what is it called, like an emulsifier or something. You put down in it, and that's what makes the mayonnaise whip. But other than that, that's the only like special thing you need. And then we make homemade blue cheese, you guys, and I just eat it with my chicken wings. No additives, no preservatives, just real
I'm
blue
going to
cheese
start making
chunks
my own
in
mayonnaise
real
like
homemade
starting
blue cheese
today.
dressing with with hot wings and hot sauce is very natural too if you get the right stuff. I think we use like a Louisiana. Don't buy buffalo sauce, you guys. Buffalo sauce is full of other bullshit. Buy a simple 3 ingredient. It should be like vinegar, salt, and cayenne pepper or something like that. It should be 3 ingredients. There should be nothing else in that shit.
Ken's going in there and throwing out his
Here, let's
manholes,
go. Well,
dude.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
run
get him
through.
beat
I'm
up
just gonna
for it,
run
dude.
through chat here because you guys have been
Ken won't be
amazing,
on tonight.
and
Sorry.
we're winding down. So I'm just gonna go through here and look at some of your guys' comments, and we'll just go over it real quick. So
We've been going through it.
I
I
know,
did
but I just
too.
want to make sure we
I
didn't
know.
miss anything because we're going and going. I just want to.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean I was just kind of chilling. You covered a lot more than detailed than I can on. I'm just
Literally
like,
threw it in the
eat when you get
garbage.
hungry and eat
Yeah.
something good.
And like you
That's
said,
it. That's
I'm
all I
not
can
telling
do,
you
dude.
guys this because this I've done. It's not something that I've heard of working. It's not something that
I did it. I can't go back.
I
You
have done
can't.
all these things I'm telling you,
It's
I do
disgusting.
myself. Okay, you guys, I'm not going to come and say, oh, do this without me trying it myself. That's one thing that you'll find out about me is when I go and I push to do something, it's because I did that and I have the personal experience and knowledge from it, not what somebody told me. So keep that in mind.
I
So
mean,
always do that for yourself and find out what works for you.
and like we just find ways to make healthy meals the best way possible, and that's really it. Like, Barbie can explain more, like, but it's just eating, managing what you got at the grocery store, because the way that you have to shop to eat healthy is just so much more expensive than buying the cheap way out, buying it all put together right there on the shelf, or
Mm-hmm.
and frozen foods are typically okay, because they're all frozen, but either way, it just depends on what you're buying too. And that goes to the level of like frozen pizzas. Like, what's your level of frozen pizza? You know, everything on the shelf has levels.
Yeah.
Everything.
And
And
not,
usually it's more expensive for the fresh,
yeah.
better,
Yeah, if you're gonna eat meat, if you're going
for you
carnivore
meat.
and all you can afford is frozen meats, like the cheapest of the cheap, something
Just
frozen,
breakfast food, man. That's
it's
that's the
fine.
cheap
It's
way.
absolutely
If you're
fine. Just
working,
look at the ingredients is all you got to do and make sure.
if you're working, just bacon is a superfood. Like you said, nobody
Yeah,
knows that, and people laugh when I tell them that.
bacon
People,
is a
you know how many
superfood, you
times
guys.
people have laughed at me when I say, "Yeah, bacon is a superfood."
And here, you
It's
guys
the only food
check
in
it
the
out for
world that's
yourself.
1-to-1 fat
One
protein.
to one fat protein, 50%
And
protein,
dude, they laugh at
50%
me until
fat.
I say, "Yeah, it's 1-to-1 fat protein. It's the only
Yep,
food in the world."
yep. It
You know what
is.
I mean?
It
And
is
they're
a
like,
true
"Oh, he
superfood.
was
No, you're right.
serious."
Yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
love
Dude,
bacon.
people have laughed about that, and that right there, and usually I'm just going against the grain on, I just think of what would the other way, and then
Yeah.
that's it. And it's like, man,
Yeah.
I do turkey bacon.
that's what you're taught not to do, you know? At no
And that's
point
fine,
did
Brian.
I get raised to do that.
Turkey bacon is fine because it's pure meat, but
It
fat
doesn't give
is
you the
not your
fat.
enemy. Because what they're
You need
telling you
more fat.
is, yeah, what they're telling you is
If
fat's
you're
your
doing it
enemy.
for the flavor, good.
Yeah, if you just like turkey bacon, then that's just as good as anything else. I have no problem with that. But if you think that turkey bacon is
But you
healthier
need to
than
throw in
regular
some fat.
bacon, they've lied to you. That's completely false. Regular, pure pork, 50-50, high fat bacon is the best you can get. It's the best for you. None of that other stuff will compare because although the protein's fine, you have to have fat. Once you convert off of carbs, fat is your best friend. Your body
I
will
also do turkey
consume it,
burgers.
it will love it. And turkey burgers, another thing that's fine. For if you just like the taste of turkey burgers, awesome. I just eat them, eat all you want. Um, but if you think that turkey burger is healthier than regular hamburger, that's you've just been misinformed. It's unfortunate that they tell us that because they've taken the fat or it's a low fat thing to make you think that
And I'll
fat's your
give you an
enemy.
example, Brian,
Beef
right
is
now,
king.
right? So at work, they have a cafeteria, dude, and they take the cheapest way out. But they also have to like
I love
legally
the
feed
taste.
us what the state says, like they have their limits, right? So you know what we get, dude? Turkey burgers.
Mm.
Turkey burgers with the cheese and bacon and a little bit of barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
if
they
you
get,
love
and
the
that's
taste,
the best option. That's the best you can get, dude. It's like prison. It's like a step up from prison.
yeah, no, it's
It's
not.
insane.
If you like the taste of it, Brian, it's great. And the only thing that I would say, cook it in real fat. Cook it in bacon grease. Cook it
And it's
in
because any previous
tallow.
administration is just taking the
Cook
protein
it
out
in
of
butter.
everyone's diet, out of your kids' cafeteria diet, out of my cafeteria diet, out of the prison cafeteria diet, and they just took, and that way our brains don't develop and they can do what they want.
Yeah. Meat,
But
milk, butter, and
that's different.
cheese are four things that have been around as long as mankind has been able to communicate.
You look
Those
at
four
a photo
things.
from the 1970s on the beach, man, and you'd be like, man,
Yeah,
what
that's a
happened?
great point. No, Keith makes a great point
What
there. If you
happened?
look at just take a picture from the past, the 60s, the 70s, look at a beach picture, right?
Are we
Everybody in
ready
their
for
bathing suits,
war?
they're all in fantastic shape.
Are they
There's like one
destroying
or
us from
two
within? I don't
overweight
know.
people. You take a
Eating
That's
look at
in
a beach now,
quotations
crazy.
is the
go look at
quality
a
of
beach
Crazy.
life.
now. It is covered with overweight people. It's sad. It's an epidemic, and it's not their fault. They've been brainwashed. They've been tricked by the people that they trusted most, have tricked them to believe
Yeah.
that this
And
is
then
healthy, that
they
this is the
created a
picture of health.
system, another sub economy of food now with SNAP, and it's being cut off and reevaluated, and it's going to be hopefully done the right way, which they say it will. I believe so, but I'm hoping that they just do it the right way, which is what I'm saying. And yeah, but just give them protein. Don't get bought out. Don't get bought out by big cereal and all the other shit.
Mm-hmm.
They took out the red 40s and they want to be like, yeah, that's a deal. But
Yeah.
it's like, well, what about all the other stuff,
Yeah,
man?
and Barbie made a great point too. The worse the food is for you, the cheaper they get. I don't know what the deal is with that they have
Yeah.
with the food market or whatever, but the worst foods are the most affordable ones. And it's a trick. It's like, oh, look at how affordable this is, and you can sustain life on it. Yeah, but you're gonna be miserable.
No bread, Ken.
There's
No
no
bread.
need to worry about that. Once you go full
No snacks, no
carnivore,
bread.
you'll figure out your price range of what you can do. Because
Yeah.
once I completely converted, yeah, at first
Breakfast
it
food.
took a minute to get the money thing evened out. But once I was fully converted to carnivore, I wasn't spending a dime more. In fact, I might have been spending a
Yep.
little bit less because I
That's
wasn't needing to
100%
buy all
true.
that other ingredient stuff. Like there's so much stuff that goes into that other food you
It's a
don't
very
even
good point.
realize. Um,
Because
so
you think it's more expensive, but once you figure out what you like and
yeah,
what you enjoy eating and putting in your body, it's like, man, I'll
yeah.
just do bacon this today, then I'll do kielbasa tomorrow, then I'll do,
And once you
something
realize
else,
that
just
hamburger,
so on
that
and so
just
on,
something as
eggs and
simple as
just
hamburger,
different things
the
like that. Yeah.
cheapest hamburger you can buy is a
Taco
superfood.
meat, just taco meat,
Yeah.
right? And cheese.
Yep. I eat
That's
hamburger bowls. What I
that's
do is I just take hamburger, I fry it up, I just crack a couple eggs in it, stir it all together, a little salt, a little pepper, boom. And it's just like one of the best meals for me. And you can have cheese on it if you want. Some people can't handle the cheese still. So, with dairy,
I only eat
it's a little
homemade
give and
honey
take.
wheat bread.
So you only eat homemade honey wheat bread. And you
Yeah,
make that
Steph's been
yourself?
making the hell out of
Nice.
bread, and it's absolutely amazing,
Yeah.
man. I love it. Just
I'm
honey, and I
for,
take it to
at
work
least
as
if
a
you're going to
snack.
eat stuff like that,
Gets me
make
through
it
work.
yourself. And that's brilliant, Brian. That's brilliant. I
Man,
love
Yeah.
that.
homemade bread is the best,
Yeah,
and
Barb's
it,
is making it. I mean,
you
that's
know,
great.
it's really amazing. So I do love that. But yeah, I enjoy it. And it
Hmm.
really just comes down to you. You just gotta make better decisions for yourself if you want to or not. If it's your time to do it, then you'll do it, and then you'll see. And once you see, you really, you don't want to go back,
Yeah, Tycoon
because
made a
your
good point
body
earlier.
will start hurting.
Yeah, Tycoon made a good point earlier of how different a natural diet is from what civilization has, made you think a good diet is. So, but I mean, just imagine here's another great way to look at it, and I think
And
this
we
is
make
called
our own
paleo.
pizza crust.
If you couldn't eat it, find it out in the wild, hit it over the head, or pick it off a tree and eat it, don't eat it. You're not going to find a loaf of bread out in the wild just sitting there ready to eat.
Yeah, he told me one time, yeah, I eat what a caveman eats.
Eat
It's
a
caveman
caveman
diet.
diet.
If I
If you
can't
can
see it,
bonk
I
it
ain't
over
gonna
the
eat it.
head and eat it, you're fine. If you can
Yeah,
grab it out
that
of a
cracked me
tree,
up
you're
too.
fine. If you can pluck it out of the ground, you're fine.
I
If
was
you
like,
have to
okay,
create it,
I'll do that.
that's not natural. Yeah. And it is a simple
And I did
idea.
that, and then that's when I noticed the hot dogs. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
just opened up everything from there.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to watch out because they'll sneak stuff in like hot dogs. Don't just go and think, oh, it's a piece of meat. There's definitely nothing else in it. Read what's in it, you guys. Please. The number one thing you can do is read the ingredients in your food. If you don't know what something is, look it up and find out what it is. It will blow your mind what they're putting into foods. It'll blow your mind why everything has to have sugar.
You
Why
made
does
a great
every
point with
single thing
mayonnaise.
have to have sugar in it? It makes no sense, you guys. It's because it's addictive. And the government knows, or between the government and the food people, they know that sugar is addictive. And all they have to do is get you to eat a little bit of it. And then they have you for the rest of your life. They have you, they have your children, they have your family. Break away from that cycle, you guys. You don't have to live like that anymore. We've got to overcome that as well in ourselves, where the easiness of eating things like a bag of chips or and
Jeez,
candy
dude, you
bars.
got me over
And
here like Paul Revere, dude. I'm ready to go.
you ready to go?
I don't know
Want
where I'm going, but I'm
to
going
tell everybody?
somewhere.
We're gonna tell
Yeah, I
everybody.
got fucking cut. Get your fucking throw out your mayonnaise now.
Throw out your mayonnaise.
Throw
Yeah, and that
it
goes
out.
for everything. Like I would say, any processed like dressings. Like one thing I noticed. I don't know if you guys noticed this. We're kind of winding down time here, but have you noticed how the taste of food is changing through the years? Like, and I don't know if it's an age thing. This I'm getting older, so my taste buds change, but I don't think so. I think it's an ingredient thing. As we've changed things to make
Yeah,
ingredients
man.
different, it changes the taste. One of them for me is blue cheese dressing.
The kids
Blue
are
cheese
not all
dressing used
right.
to like have a really good natural
Offspring.
flavor when I would eat it with hot wings at places, right? I would order hot wings, I'd get blue cheese dressing. Now, like all the Hidden Valley and all these brands of blue cheese, it's absolutely disgusting. I can't hardly imagine even eating a little bit of it, let alone buying
I don't
big
want to get Big
quantities
Valley on us, dude.
of this stuff. I'm sorry. They've just it's dog shit.
I
It's
don't want
bad.
Big Valley coming down, dude.
It's not just
I want
them.
no
It's
smoke.
all of the manufacturers. They're all doing. They all get the same memo, and they all do the same thing. It's not one company, and I'm not trying to signal out one company. I'm saying every company is doing it, except for a couple. Now, like I said, Primal Kitchen is a great example of a company that I think is trying to get away from that lifestyle. You guys check out Primal Kitchen. I'm not a sponsor, but I do use some of their products, and I think that it's a lot healthier option. But you do sacrifice a lot of sweetness when you change to that. If you like your barbecue sauce to taste like a bowl of sugar, you're not going to like Primal Kitchen's barbecue sauce. You know what I'm saying? If that's what it is.
Also, you start learning like the different ways to cook things, and you get your favorite ways of eating things too. Like coffee and stuff like that. I love making coffee a certain way now. Ever since Toot showed me the or told me about the pour over, because it's it's just a better way
You're
of
not
doing
cooking
things.
the coffee. Basically, what it is that we've
Yeah,
switched to a low temp coffee because when you boil coffee, you ruin it. It brings out the bitterness and all these notes that of bad, and it kills the good notes. And you learn about that with like flavors and temperatures and stuff when you're doing cooking and other things. So that's when I kind of started looking into the coffee thing and the flavors. And man, it's a life changer. If you drink coffee out of a coffee pot and then try a pour over, it'll change your life. And then you can tweak it to what you like. Like, see, because at first it was like, well, we're making pour over at 190. But then I started doing it at 160 degrees. Best coffee I've ever had in my life. 160 degrees to me
Oh
is
man,
the
my
money
coffee
spot
tastes
for
so much
coffee.
better with this new pour over.
Yeah. And
yeah.
so you
It's
have to be able to, heat your water up to that temperature with a thermometer and get it to the right temperature. It's a little bit more work, you guys.
mhm.
Anytime we talk about this stuff, you're going to be adding work to your life. Okay? So if
That's
if
up to you.
if that's a problem with you, you may not be
But
able
I do
to
still use
overcome
my
that.
coffee
But
pot when
having a
I'm
little bit
lazy.
more work to be a little bit better person, a little bit healthier, that's an exchange I'm willing to make. I don't mind it at all. And my whole family here, that's all of us in my household, that's how we feel. We don't mind a little more effort and work for the health of our
A
bodies,
greater
especially if it keeps us out of the doctor's
end product.
office. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's great. Really great stuff, you guys. I mean, just to recap, try fasting, try eating
Yes.
less, Try
I've
not
been
eating
making my own
breakfast.
breads and
Try
baked goods
making
at
till
home.
noon to before
And
you
now when I buy
start eating
cookies or
during the day.
anything from the store, I swear I can't
Try
taste
just
golden.
eliminating sugar to
Store-bought
start with.
cookies are so bad.
Try eliminating bread. Try eliminating pastas. Try little things. Go in little increments. And if you're going to start carnivore, don't
Eliminate bread.
don't dive in 100% like I did,
Fry your
unless you have the
lettuce.
willpower of 1,000 men. Okay, ease into it. Start cutting down on all the other garbage. Start eating more and more meat until you completely convert. All right. If you want to just go for it, you can do it though. Trust me, I did it. You can do it. It's absolutely amazing. It will change your life, you guys. And I'm saying it because it changed my life, not because I heard it somewhere. So, anyways, that is going to be it for us here today. We appreciate y'all hanging out. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will catch you next time here on the Habitual Overcomers podcast. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you soon.
Oh man,